It's fucking weird. So, how's everyone doing today?
Well, I was doing all right until I got a Skype call for this, and then it just went to shit.
And then the adventures in the GamerKulture show happened.
It's kind of like a joke that we can't do anything without there being some type of technical difficulty, and that streak has not been broken.
Not
No,
even a
not at all.
joke anymore.
Go
Now it's a
with it.
rule.
Pretty much.
And this is
Anytime
this is just a small time production. Like, imagine how
Yeah.
many problems are run into on big time productions.
I'd like to think once you have a crew that there was like better equipment, you could probably have like presets going.
I see that, and it raise you more people, more problems.
True.
Fair enough. That's actually probably extremely true. All right, but we want to just get right into this shit.
Sure.
I don't know. Do you want to get into shit? Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is Sunday, June 4th, 2017. GamerKulture is the drive, passion, and dedication to all things in gaming by the Grand Geek Gathering. The ever-changing world of gamer culture involves communities of all types, the evolving industry that surrounds us, and the people who use it for the betterment of all. We're down one member today. We are down.
We traded out one gamer girl for another gamer girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think you weren't on the last one, right, Bookworm?
No, I was at my brother's graduation, so I had important things to be at, unfortunately.
More important things to do than talk about video games with a bunch of nerds to an audience of nerds. No, I get it. It's fine. That's cool. Whatever. Card, how you doing besides the rage of setting up the show?
You drive me to drink.
You're welcome. Alrighty, so we have an interesting topic today that it's something that's been happening for actually the past decade, really, if you want to think about it. But it's just now that people are starting to talk about it, be okay with like bringing it up now, and that's the idea of games as a service. Now, I know Wildcard didn't really know what I meant by that, so what I mean by games as a service is instead of the old model of like fire and forget, a dev releases a game and that game is now in the wild, and except for maybe some like DLC now and then, maybe the game is basically just it's out there. They don't touch it after that. Games as a service implies instead the continual service of that game, not just through DLC and patches, but think of something like Overwatch. Overwatch wasn't a fire and forget game. They're always coming out with new maps. They're always coming out, well, not always, but every couple of months we get some new maps, get some characters, we get new events, we get sprays. Dear God, the amount of sprays. We will never have everything for a character because of sprays, skins and things like that. Call of Duty's been doing it for a long time with multiplayer servers.
I thought Call of Duty just did yearly releases, and that was kind of their patch. Like, hey, instead of a patch, here's a whole new game. It's the same game as before, but with a few differences.
They're a little better if you want to consider it that, because they actually do release a new game. Whereas if you think of something like Battlefield, which has longer gaps between games, you have like these extended service periods where instead of a new game, they just continually offer more and more and more. And that's kind of what we're talking about today is do we like where that direction is going? Do we like, what do we think that means for gaming in the future? Are we done seeing the fire and forget style games? What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of a good thing in a sense, and it actually does save it saves developers money, because it used to be if you had a horrible game-breaking bug or something got discovered, the only way to fix it was to completely recall everything and reprint. Now you can just fix it through a patch or something. But there's caution too, because I think it could turn into kind of a free-to-play thing. Some games they're service games, but they also are free to play. And I don't want gaming to turn into that, because then it becomes especially if it's a multiplayer game, it becomes, the person who has the most money is going to win because they'll be able to get the best weapons and everything. Overwatch does a very good thing where the only things that you can get extra are skins and sprays and stuff that doesn't affect gameplay. But I know that there's other companies that would abuse that, and that makes me nervous.
It depends on the type of game.
That
It
too.
really does. What you're describing right now, services games, is pretty much primarily for multiplayer games. Single player games don't do this as much, if at all. Like, you're playing through Little Nightmares right now, right?
Right.
That's a single player game. Do you think they're gonna like come out with like new maps and new characters like 6 months down the line?
Nah, no, that kind of game just wouldn't support a style like that.
Exactly. It's a single player game focused on story.
Right.
So they're probably not going to do services like games as a service like that. And what you brought up earlier, Bookworm, with game shipping with a game breaking bug, that game wouldn't ship. If it had a game breaking bug, it wouldn't ship. It would be delayed until
Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the most recent one we got.
That's a game as a service because they have multiplayer They have multiplayer on it. They shipped the disc with almost nothing, and they knew they could digitally do everything else with it because it has a multiplayer component to it.
I hated them for it.
Yeah.
I was more talking about back in the like older days, and by older days I mean like almost 10 years ago, when that did happen. There were game-breaking bugs, and they did have to recall. I mean, it wasn't frequent because people do quality testing, but it did happen, especially in the PS2 era, where there were games that got shipped with bugs and they had to be recalled. But that's more what I was referring to. I was referring to past situations. It doesn't happen nowadays because you're right. People do more quality testing. We understand the hardware we're using better. But back in the day, that was the answer because we had no patching whatsoever.
Yeah, and I want to look at a quote here from we have a quote from EA CEO Andrew Wilson, and he's saying games as a service.
The devil himself.
I know, right?
I know, right?
Games as a service are reshaping our industry, and EA is positioned to lead. Our investment in an EA digital platform that connects players across games, franchises, and devices also provides more data from our games than ever before. With the data and capabilities of our platform, we're able to do things differently, move faster, and innovate for our player companies. Bullshit. Amazingly creative games combined with services like Ultimate Team, which is for FIFA, our Battlefield network, multi-platform experiences, and subscription programs like EA Access are the future of the industry. With every player that joins our games, every game session, and every engagement in our live services, we are adding strength to EA's player network. So it definitely sounds like, in this, surprising no one, EA is definitely trying to move their own, at least company towards that model of everything's a subscription, everything's a network, everything is part of a live service. And I gotta say, I'm not thrilled because we're seeing this with other big publishers. Take-Two, we've got that with GTA Online. Obviously, Activision Blizzard's got Hearthstone and WoW, and pretty much all of their games are a game as a service model.
They're really taking it far, though. Did you see a while ago they did patch notes for Diablo 2?
Hmm.
And more recently they did a new patch for the original StarCraft.
They did a patch for the original StarCraft?
Yep.
Is that because they did they made it so you could download StarCraft and Brood War?
Yep.
Huh. Which, side note, got to say, was fun, except I didn't like the fact that I could highlight my whole army and it wouldn't do the whole army.
Oh yeah, you have to assign squads.
Yeah, see, I wasn't aware of that. So I'd be like, okay, whole army, go that way, and you'd click and drag the box, and like 10 guys go.
Oh yeah, like you click and drag, you can only select up to, what was it, 10 or 12, something like that. You can only select 12 units at once, then you control 1 for squad 1, then you select another 12, control 2 for squad 2.
Yeah, see, I wish they had said that in some kind of tutorial, because that I did not think of that at all. I just thought the game was weird, and that it was some kind of like old game quirk.
That's in a lot of RTS games, though.
I don't play RTS games, though.
Well, there you go.
So sitting down to StarCraft from that download that they gave
Wait,
was
have you played
literally the
have you
first
played
time.
StarCraft 2?
No.
They do have a tutorial for it
Well,
there.
I played StarCraft. God, what was it? Was it Wings of Liberty?
That's part 1 of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I think it was Wings of Liberty. A buddy of mine let me use an account that a friend of his had given him, and I played it a little bit. But again, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing things, but yeah, no. But getting back to it, so it's weird because even in some single player games now, you do have almost echoes of games as a service with things like skins or DLC.
And
So take a game like I was playing Tales of Berseria, and Tales of Berseria, a lot of the Tales games, they give you skins. Skins are a huge thing in not even skins, costume pieces are a huge thing in the Tales games now, where you can make your characters look like they're in like a high school anime, make it look like they're having a beach day. Their favorite is to give you costumes of characters from older games. Um, and every now and then they'll release little packets of those. It's like, oh, look, more costumes for me to dress my characters up in. So even in Tales of Berseria is no different. There's all those kind of costume sets. So even in single player games, we're starting to get touches of these games as a service. And I gotta say, I'm not huge on the idea of this kind of like gamer zeitgeist
You know
like
what?
movement
It
towards
used
that.
to be that you could unlock those skins through gameplay.
See, that's fine because if it's all in the game already,
Like
and I've
playing
got to
through
do
the
something.
old rebooted Prince of Persia. I think it's Prince of Persia 2008. You can unlock
Mm-hmm.
skins through like beating the game or getting specific achievements
and
instead of getting the achievement of putting in your credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I do praise Overwatch for that because you can technically unlock everything through gameplay into earning loot boxes. You don't have to pay for them. But that's the thing I fear. And it's funny that the EA spokesman wants to do this because it would totally be an EA thing to do where you had to pay for a good chunk of your game, just the extras. And they could defend it by saying, well, they're optional. You don't need it to complete the game, but people are going to buy them.
Are you kidding me? Look at Mass Effect 3.
Oh, trust me, I know about that.
How is a living, breathing Prothean not important to the game?
Yeah. Yeah, and their replacement made no sense. It actually makes more sense if you have the Prothean, because they did technically replace it with it was like a hologram Prothean. It just didn't make any sense.
So the difference, so the difference in 3 was basically, do you want a Prothean or a hologram Prothean?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was.
What's even the point then?
This is why EA saying they want to go towards a service makes me really nervous because I know we all know the type of shit EA does. They're just going to use it to milk money out of their customers, as opposed to Blizzard's model, which seems to be, hey, we have all these cool skins or whatever. You can earn them through gameplay, or you can buy them, buy a random chance to get them. But the game fundamentally does not change if you do not have them.
My problem with this idea of the gaming moving towards games as a service is games becoming a service style game that never needed to be. Imagine if Kingdom Hearts 3 was a service-based game. Obviously there's no
It doesn't need
real...
to be. Please
Exactly.
do not. Do
It
not.
does not need to be at all. There's no reason to make it a service-based game. But imagine they did, and they say, okay, we're going to give you, because there's always some kind of Coliseum challenge mode. We're going to constantly give new kinds of challenges in the Coliseum. We're going to let you compete with other people in certain levels in Kingdom Hearts 2, let you ride around in that hoverboard. We're going to have hoverboard races and trick things with other players. We're going to have gummy ship battles with other players. I don't know, just stuff with other players, downloadable costumes, stuff like that. Not only would that just on principle anger me, the problem there is that now we're dealing with servers. And anytime you have a game that deals with service-based stuff, 99% of the time it's on servers with other people.
Would
Which
you
means
would you be angered if I told you that Birth by Sleep had online multiplayer?
Would you be more angered if I told you that Final Fantasy 15 did have events that happened and they were temporary?
that I know, and they were the most shilliest thing ever.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was a cup noodle ramen festival. I'm not kidding. You go into the main big city. Hang on, just my camera.
Jesus.
There was, you go into the big city, and it's not just like, oh, that is a vague cup noodle reference. It literally says cup noodle. That is cup noodle. They had a festival for it in the game. It lasted like a week. You could get costumes. You could get cup noodle costumes.
Like the company cup noodle, like in the real world?
Yes.
Hang on, I'm gonna look at this. Hang on, we're gonna look. Final Fantasy 15.
All right, in the actual video, I'll put up a picture of it.
Picture of this?
Yeah.
I'll include okay, number one straight off the bat. So you know how? Oh God, nope. Here it is. Here it is. We've found it. No, that's a fan thing. Here we go. View image. God, that's error 101. Fuck you. I mean, it doesn't exist. Close that tab. Different one. Here's another one because there's 3 pictures on Google.
I'm laughing because it sounds like they tried to scrub it from the internet. They wanted to never admit that this happened.
Like we didn't do. No, not at all. No.
We messed up. I do have a. Okay.
Yes, but yes. Birth by Sleep on the PSP had online multiplayer to it. There was a Coliseum mode that you can team up with other people. There was also races that you can do with each character had a little vehicle.
I don't actually have an issue with that. Again, as long as it doesn't change the impact of the story.
Oh, there were skills behind.
Oh,
in order to get the good ending, you had to finish the Coliseum mode.
Okay, see that's stupid. I do not like it when they do that. If you have services that are online in a game that is single player, they should literally just be for fun or maybe like extra XP and money.
Yeah.
But don't do. So, and this really bothers me with Square.
Who's got the chips crunching in the background?
Oh, sorry, that's my roommate. I do, and the thing about it is I like Square, but I see them doing these things, and I'm like, please just keep them costumes. Please don't let them affect gameplay, because I knew they did it with Birth by Sleep. And it's just, I don't, it does bug me when it's fundamental gameplay.
Yeah, and it's the other big thing is going towards this service model. God, I have new headphones or earbuds, so my voice sounds weird. It sounds like I'm stuffed up.
Maybe you are stuffed up.
It's
totes. The other thing that would worry me is going towards server-based issues or server-based gaming. You run into server-based issues.
Mm-hmm.
You run into instances of lag, or disconnecting from things. I should not be playing Kingdom Hearts and run into disconnect issues.
Yeah.
You mean the
That
issues
just shouldn't happen.
the issues that happened when Diablo 3 first came out?
Oh my gosh.
Or what happened when what was that one that EA released? It was like SimCity, the new one?
It was SimCity, and that was both a server issue and a DRM issue. So that was totally 2 issues at once, but they were both related to being online and using a server. So, yeah. For a game, and that's actually funnier because, again, I know that we mentioned that EA is Satan, but this is just one of a good example of how shitty they can be, because they said the reason that you needed it to be online is because there was no way to put a single offline mode in, and then like 6 months later they patched it in offline mode.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck EA.
EA is shit. This is why them saying they want to go to a service game should really worry anybody who likes games that are made by EA. So.
Which I'm. The Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new one coming out. It looks so good, but fuck EA.
And that's the thing too, right? Is that they're like, okay, we've got a single player campaign. It's gonna follow through several, generations. I'm like, okay. The problem is, it's like it all looks good. The modes sound good. I'm like, multiplayer is fine. Star Wars multiplayer battles, that's great. But you can't have a Star Wars game without some kind of single player story. Like, come on. So the fact that they're doing one is really cool, especially since it looks so pretty. But like Card said, it's EA, and I don't trust them.
No, I'm still. I mean, yeah. There's anytime you look at like either biggest scandals in gaming or like shit that has gone down with online servers, DRM, EA is always near the top of that list because they do so much shit. So yeah, I would understand not trusting them, and it's one of the reasons I do actually have hesitations for there being games as a service. Now, I like games that continually get patched, because when a game gets abandoned, that could lead to some issues, and that has happened. But, yeah.
What about, in this games for service thing, what about for betas? Like, say you release a game and it's in beta, open beta, and then say, like, oh, that's just how it is. We're just going to start patching it, but it's always an open beta.
And that's the thing too, right? I mean, what is was it Arc right now? They're in like beta 13 or something like that, or alpha 13, whatever they want to call it now.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, just call it like it is. You're just releasing patches for the game, unless you actually plan. And the reason they do this, the reason anyone does this, the reason they keep games in beta is because they know it's an excuse for the game not being up to par. It's an excuse for bugs. It's an excuse for poor graphics. It's an excuse for just poor gameplay. It's an excuse for a bad game. And I'm not saying Ark is a bad game. I know a lot of people love Ark. And as someone who doesn't play it, I can't speak on it, from experience. I'm sure there's still bugs, and I'm sure there's still issues that they need to work out. And that's why they're still calling it a beta, because there's still bugs that they know they have to work out. And that, I get, that's the point of a beta. But how many years has that game been out now?
At least 4, I think. 4 or 5.
Yeah,
It's been
I was going to say 3, but 4 makes, 4 sounds good too. Game's been out in beta for 4 years. Guys, what are you doing?
And the thing about it is that, and I do play Ark occasionally. I'm not very good at it. It's not the main game I play, but I do play occasionally. And they're one of the best examples of a company doing this and not being scummy about it. But it's still not a good model. And I love the game when I do play. Because, I mean, every time I log on, it's like, hey, there's been new dinosaurs added, because I don't play enough for me to actually play when the updates occur. But then I look and it's still on beta. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, why is this still in development for 5 years?
I would find it hilarious if one day Blizzard came out and said, oh yeah, World of Warcraft? Yeah, it's always been in beta.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys have been buying test patches?
Yeah.
We're actually getting into the release soon, so everything's going to be wiped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how you lose all your subscribers.
A 13...
And the other thing...
Wait, isn't it... I think it's 14 or 15-year-long beta?
Yeah. About a 14-year-long beta now. Yeah. Although, I wonder how many people would be initially angry about losing everything, but then realizing, do we get to go back to vanilla? That would make some people really happy.
That would. I mean, if you look at the outcry when the vanilla server was shut down, yeah.
To be fair, that vanilla server wasn't Blizzard.
Oh, I know.
I
know
yeah.
why.
Yeah.
I know that Blizzard was full within their legal right to do it, but the outrage was still pretty epic.
It was funny. I remember them releasing a statement. I think they literally said, guys, trust us. You don't want a vanilla server.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Because there's an entire server of people I'm pretty sure would disagree with you.
Have you guys seen extra credits video on it?
No,
on
I
the
I think I
subject?
did. It's been a while though.
They did.
I
They
might
did a
have-
really good
I might-
video on why Blizzard doesn't want to do this. Like, it just makes headache after headache after headache. That's just completely unnecessary when you can just bring everyone to the current patch.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did see this video. Basically, if they kept the vanilla server, they would have to do separate patches for every patch release. And it would...
And then,
I
like,
mean-
once you start with the vanilla servers, like, you got PC servers, and then from there, Wrath servers, and then people are going to want, oh, I want server on this patch.
Yeah. I mean, it would actually be in Blizzard's best interest to not do a vanilla server. And that does suck for fans, but they do have to understand that, you know, these are people who are developing a game, and they don't need to do a shit ton amount of work just to, you know, ease a small minority of their fan base's pleasure.
Also, like, say you bring a friend to the game that's never played it before. They look at it, it's like, what's this? What's a classic server? What's a regular server? What's a retro server?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have that issue of people wanting to play the game and hopping on the wrong server, which would be
think-
weird. How come my warrior's not very good at swinging a sword? Well, you've got to swing it 100 times first.
100 times is an understatement.
I'm sure it's thousands.
I think going back to topic, I think the other thing I fear about games becoming to a service is, like we've mentioned, that means servers. What happens when those servers get turned off? You can't play the game anymore if there's no offline mode. And there are PS3 games like that where they did shut off the server and they're basically unplayable. And that's something I genuinely worry about. What's going to happen when the PS3's PSN finally goes down? It won't happen anytime
Isn't it
soon.
connected to the current PS4's PSN? I thought it was just PSN.
I hope it
Or
is.
PlayStation Network.
I think it's just the PSN.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I worry about this because I've made purchases on digital games that don't exist, you know, physically, and it's just like, what if this goes down for PS3? Do I lose all my purchases? What the hell?
Same thing with Steam. What happens
Yeah.
in, like, say 30 years, the Steam servers go down?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too, right? And this gets into a whole nother topic of
Yeah, which we can do another video on, but it does connect to games as a service. You know, if a game becomes unpopular, then those servers are going to shut down because they're not going to be financially feasible for a company to keep. So if your game is 90% of a service game and the servers shut down, you're fucked.
So obviously games as a service, it's something that worries all of us because there's a lot of implications and a lot of worries when we start tying games to a service or subscription based or server based or anything like that. But what are some of the positives of moving towards this games as a service? Obviously, the main one is content. With games as a service versus just a fire and forget, you have that housefly buzzing around. You have that idea of you're never going to run out of content because every couple of months you're getting something new. You're getting maps, you're getting skins, you're getting weapon skins or different kinds of weapons depending on the game.
But how like does a weapon skin really change how the game is played? I mean, yeah, it's nice having it in there, but it's like that's not going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to go pick up the old Legend of Zelda because there's a new weapon skin in there. Oh.
Well, actually, Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild's interesting because there are a lot of different weapons in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, let's not do Breath of the Wild. I just said Legend of Zelda. Let's say Wind Waker. Already finished Wind Waker like 3 times.
Okay.
And they released a new weapon skin. It's like, oh, I need to go back and replay Wind Waker.
Honestly, some people would do it. I mean, in Legend of Zelda,
I need to get an emulator for Wind Waker now.
Like Wind Waker, obviously, that's a poor example, just because obviously very few people, some might, but very few people are going to replay Wind Waker just for a weapon skin. But think of something like, what is it? Hit my mic. God damn, not Call of Duty. Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, CS:GO. Weapon skins are a huge thing in CS:GO.
Yeah.
There's a market based on weapon skins.
Oh yeah, well because that's a multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
multiplayer and a status symbol.
but think about something like God of War 3, where there were, and again, these are things that were in the game that you could unlock on your own, but we're imagining moving towards a game as service model. Let's say we have these single player games where you can get these other skins. You know, you can play the game as Deimos, Kratos' brother. You can play it as classic Kratos before he was cursed. You
Or
can
cow
play
suit?
it. What's up?
Was the cow suit?
I remember I had the PSP version, and there was the Spud of War. You could play in a potato suit.
Yeah, there's always a joke costume. The cow suit, I don't remember which one it's from, but basically he's in a cow costume and he has an udder and he's swinging around milk cans. I'm not making this up. This exists.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'm looking up the God of War 3 because God of War 3 is the only God of War I've played all the way through. I played a bit of God of
Shame.
War 1. That's only because I didn't own any of them. I played God of War.
Go get an emulator. Go play the original God of War.
You are correct. I really should because they are fun as hell games.
Do you have a
God of War-
PS3? If you have a PS3, you don't even have to get an emulator.
Yeah.
Just
So
get,
God of War 3, you had the Phantom of Chaos costume. You had the Forgotten Warrior, which was just like gold armor. You had, was it Dominus? Which one was that? Okay, that was
That was
interesting.
pizza. That was a pizza.
It wasn't, but I like where you're coming from.
No, there was a pizza skin in one of the God of War games.
There was a pizza skin.
There's Deimos. I'm looking through right now. Fear
There's
Kratos
always
was just
the joke
Black
skin.
Kratos,
Hey, that's
Apollo,
racist.
right? I'm looking at Dominus, and it's been based on the barbarian stuff. I
All
don't
right,
think there
we
was a
should
joke one in 30.
we should wrap this
Yeah,
up.
Okay.
we should
So yeah,
do
so
it.
so last thoughts on games as a service, both for negatives and positives.
I think it's. I'll go first. I think it's positive in the sense that you have developers who are sticking with a game. So you've got, the extra content coming in, if you want it or not, as long as it doesn't become, essential content. You have developers who are there to quickly patch things as fast as they possibly can. And, I think it can in some instances be a good thing, but I also have caution about it because I can also see it, being by companies that already are scummy, like EA, using it to just milk money off their fans. And it's just kind of one of those things, like it's really good, but then at the same time, it's got serious flaws.
Yarp.
And it just depends on the company.
Yeah. Guard.
It depends on the game. Multiplayer game, it needs content. Like, I don't know. I want to bring up Titanfall 2 somehow, but they're delivering really good content in Titanfall 2. The problem with it, there's nobody playing Titanfall 2, which is a damn shame because it's a really good game. But
Retention issues. We know all about that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I played Titanfall 2 at my buddy's house, and it's fun. And I'm kind of it had the worst release date ever.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it came up out against 3 other big games.
It came out against Advanced Warfare, Battlefield, and Battlefield 1, which are
Yeah.
all through EA. All 3 games are through EA. So it's like they're
Competing with
trying.
yourself.
Yep.
You think they would know?
When the only competition is yourself, do you really ever lose?
Yeah, so they don't care. That's true.
And I really have to say for it is, while I think there are certain positives to games as a service, because if you have a game that you really like, you can have it last for a really long time. You can stick with a game that can go for years. I mean, yeah, look at Blizzard right now. Blizzard has they've got
You
heroes,
mean
but
gaming as a lifestyle?
They literally just did an update for StarCraft, which I think is almost older than me.
And it's what is it? Four Wheels over here gives a good point. Thank you, Soul. Where if you have these games that are possibly watered down, because everyone's like, oh, we've got to get this model down. We've got to get this model of, coverage, and then everything just starts having the same stuff, the same features, the same just model, everything starts to blend and just get boring. And you really start to run into that issue of, well, now it's not just games that are in the same genre that are the same. Now it's just like every game is just kind of the same now. It's just more and more just like pick the flavor of your poison type thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what worries me as well a bit. You know, my biggest worry about games as a service is having to deal with, number one, tying games to a server, and number two, like having multiplayer and server-based content in a game that doesn't need it. You know, like you said, you know, you said Birth by Sleep had multiplayer servers?
Yep.
Or multiplayer games?
Aspects to it, yeah.
Aspects? Yeah, I'm just like, didn't need it. Kingdom Hearts does not need that at all.
And you needed it to, not just that it was there. Like, it's not necessarily necessary.
I mean, granted,
it was there, and it was what you needed to do. It was one of the things you needed to unlock the good ending.
I mean,
that's
granted,
ridiculous.
this is me coming in 10 years later, and I was still able to get the Ansem's report that was needed.
Okay, so I mean, I just don't like it when they connect something to a server and you need it to get like a good ending, or you need it to get something essential. It bugs me.
There's been a lot of games like that where they tie like achievements to multiplayer, and it's like, all right, well, I'm never gonna play your game's multiplayer. I'm never gonna be good enough at the multiplayer to get that. But anyway, thank you everyone so much for tuning in for all the GamerKulture needs. What?
Next time, we're doing my idea for the subject. Fan service in games.
You know,
all right. The next podcast we do is going to be fan service in games.
It'll be a funner topic and not one that's kind of depressing. Sorry, it just is a little bit.
I mean, it's a depressing thing to think about, only because it's like, oh god, that is the direction.
No, well, not every podcast we could talk about something positive or happy in gaming, because there's some pretty fucked up shit. So
yeah.
So we'll do the super fun silly podcast next time.
Yep. Alrighty.
And I expect everyone to be inebriated for that one.
I could do that. Done.
Done. Right. Hands down. We're all going to get drunk and talk about fan service. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. For all your GamerKulture needs, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch TV, and thegrandgeekgathering.com. The show has been brought to you by the Grand Geek Gathering Network. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us. A special thanks to the band Alex and Alex for granting us permission for the use of their song, Glam Jam. Join the gathering. Stay cultured. Have a great week. And everybody,
GGG!